The story begins with a man of means, a well-established figure named Borges. One ordinary day, Borges stopped by a small barber shop run by George, a loyal patron, modest in nature, but warm in spirit. As their friendly exchange unfolded, George gently put forward a quiet wish that his son, Ignatius, might travel to the city with Borges in the hope of building a better future for himself. After a brief pause, Borges agreed. Together, they left the stillness of village life and entered the city's endless motion, a place brimming with possibility, yet full of hidden dangers. Along the way, Borges made one thing clear to Ignatius. This chance was rare, not given to just anyone.
His tone was serious, yet layered with hope. He urged the young man not to let this moment slip through his fingers. Upon arriving at his home, Borges introduced Ignatius to his wife, Savarina, though not entirely truthfully. He described Ignatius as the nephew of a relative from the village. Savarina, unsuspecting, welcomed him without question and quietly prepared a room for their young guest. Once the room was set, Savarina left Ignatius with a book, a gentle nudge toward quiet reflection, perhaps a doorway into knowing himself better. The following morning, before heading out, Borges offered Ignatius another round of guidance, words rooted in discipline, honesty, and the kind of integrity it takes to survive in a demanding world. He then walked Ignatius through the paperwork, the first official steps into working life. That evening, after a quiet dinner, Ignatius retreated to his room. In the creeping stillness, he opened the book Savarina had given him. But between the lines, his imagination ran loose. In a waking dream, Ignatius saw Savarina moving before him, her presence graceful and magnetic, as though time itself had paused to watch. This wasn't merely a fantasy. It felt like something more substantial, something dissolving the line between what was real and what was imagined. The vision followed him into the workplace, clouding his focus. Borges began to take notice. Ignatius's growing distraction at work was like a smoldering ember. Until one night, at the dinner table, a space meant for warmth, Borges' frustration erupted without warning. His outburst cut through the silence like a crack of lightning. That explosion left a mark on Savarina. Something shifted quietly inside her after that moment. She withdrew to her room, standing before her mirror with measured steps, as if reluctant to face the residue of anger still lingering in her thoughts, especially since Ignatius had drawn Borges' wrath. A feeling she couldn't name began to stir. It drew Savarina, almost instinctively, toward his door, where Ignatius sat in silence, lost in the very book she had placed in his hands, as though each page concealed something unspoken. The next morning, the routine resumed. Borges and Ignatius returned to work, but the daydreams crept back uninvited. Ignatius's gaze drifted toward a colleague nearby, her image slowly dissolving into Savarina's form. In the theater of his mind, that night, in the depths of sleep, Ignatius was carried into a dream so vivid it felt lived in. Savarina was there, close, as though two separate inner worlds had briefly touched. At that same moment, Savarina jolted awake, startled, as if something unseen had brushed against the edges of her soul. Act 4. The boundary crossed. The next morning, Borges chose not to bring Ignatius to the office. He suggested the young man take the day to rest from a routine that had started to unravel. Ignatius went back to his room, picked up the book again, but the words only drew him under, into a deep, undisturbed sleep. Meanwhile, Savarina found herself unable to shake a restless unease. A quiet but insistent pull guided her steps toward Ignatius's door. In his dream, Ignatius saw her again, nearer this time. And in the real world, Savarina was doing exactly the same, moving closer to where he lay sleeping. A blurred emotion, somewhere between hesitation and something she couldn't define, carried her forward, erasing the distance between dream and waking life. And then she turned and walked back. She sat alone in her room for a long while, as though only now registering what her feet had done. A feeling she didn't fully understand, yet one that had already taken shape.
Not long after, Borges returned home. He moved through the house with slow, deliberate steps, as if searching for something he couldn't name. He found Savarina asleep, her expression peaceful on the surface, but holding something unspoken beneath. He then looked in on Ignatius, also sleeping, quiet, yet the room felt different somehow. From where he stood, a suspicion took shape and hardened. Borges came to feel that Ignatius no longer belonged in the middle of his family's life. By the next morning, a decision had formed, firm and unavoidable. He would send Ignatius back to his father. Even so, he encouraged him to keep working, only no longer under the same roof. As they were leaving, Ignatius paused and looked back, his eyes searching the windows of the house, hoping for one last glimpse of Savarina. Perhaps just a silhouette. Perhaps just a farewell left unsaid. But Borges cut his gaze short, explaining that Savarina was unwell and not to be disturbed. On the other side of that wall, Savarina was quietly restoring the room, straightening the sheets, repositioning small objects, smoothing away any trace that remained. A wordless signal that the space would be returned to what it once was, ready for whoever came next, unburdened by any story. The film closes in slow movement. Ignatius looks back one final time, his eyes carrying a hope that will go unanswered. The car pulls away, carrying him toward a separation that may never find its way back. And yet, there is a smile on his face, quiet but genuine, as though he had discovered something within himself along the way, a feeling that may never have been fully real, but real enough to live on inside him, as a dream he'll always keep close, in silence.